Okay, so it's week eight blog, and we're going to kind of go back through our last 7 weeks of our blog and tell you what we've learned. I kind of did things a little bit backwards. I feel I'm coming to get my master's after I have 23 years of experience in the workforce, having been a manager. So I was able to go and pull from a lot of my past experiences, and I really did enjoy that because it made me think a lot about what I done in the past. I'm not a manager currently. Don't know if I ever will be again. But I do think that I would change a few things that we've gone over and want to go through those. So, week one blog was how do you want to be managed? And how do you want others to manage you? I don't think I have any changes in that. I still like to be managed the same way as I put in my blog. I like to be left alone to do my work and to be trusted to do my work. And I think that I appreciate a manager who can do that and respect that I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do and get things done. Um, so I don't think I have any changes in my feeling on that. Now, how I would manage other people kind of would change. I did look back at how I did, and I kind of was the same type of manager a little bit of wanting to be hands off. And I kind of look back and think that maybe that wasn't quite the way a lot of people need to be managed. Some of them need to be micromanaged, and some of them need to be more hands on as a manager. And that's kind of not what I did for a lot of the time. And I kind of learned as I went as a manager to try to be a little more hands on and be accessible. I thought that my employees would come to me if they had a problem, and I found out a lot of times they didn't. So I look back, like I said, I don't think I would change how I like to be managed. I like to be, like I said, left alone. But I do think I would change up if I would become a manager again. I probably would change a few things on how I managed others. Week two blog was the Big Five personality test. We took the test to find out what how we came out, and I think it kind of hit me right on the right, pretty square. I think if I recall, we went through, and I'm more of a I like to have fun. I like to joke around, but I also too am a very I think it's at a brick wall. And I can be like that. I think my how I act at work is completely different than the way I act at home. I like to have a lot of fun with my family, but the job that I have now does not allow me to do that. I'm in collections, so I kind of have to put the hat on of I can't really listen to people's sob stories and let it influence my thinking and my decision making. So I think at work, yes, I'm a little more stonewall, and at home, I'm not quite that bad. And I tried to keep it different, my real life from my job life. Blog three was punishment versus reward as a motivation. Very much, I'm into there's a time and a place to reward someone, and there's a time and a place to basically punish them. I don't want to think of it as punishment because I was in straight commission sales. So in sales, you kind of punish yourself. You either do your quota, make your quota, continue to work. If you do that, you're going to be rewarded. You're rewarded monetarily, and a lot of times there's bonuses in the sales jobs. So a lot of times spiffs would come up. If you sold a certain amount of things, you got a couple $100 worth of gift certificates or a Visa card. So you got rewarded that way. I'm not into the punishment right off bat. I've heard the saying of you should be motivated basically by keeping your job. And I don't feel that that's always right. In some cases, possibly, but in most cases, not. I just had a job interview a couple months back, and I believe that I was asked this question: how do you motivate? What do you think the best motivation is? And I would not answer, you get to keep your job. Well, one of the interviewers said, well, keeping your job, isn't that motivation enough? And I completely disagreed with that. So I don't know if that kept me from getting the job or not getting the job, but that was my answer. And I really didn't feel like I kind of wanted to work for that company due to the fact that if that is their way of thinking and how they're going to be with their employees, that's probably not the place I really want to be. Week 5, intercultural communication. Not much in foreign intercultural communication in that it was more of dealing with coming from a city, being in the banking business, wearing suits, ties, and going out to see customers in their homes made them feel very, very uncomfortable. So, kind of flipped, and we would dress a little more like the people. Obviously, we didn't go out in shorts and t-shirts, but we would be in Dockers and polo shirts, trying to make them more comfortable. And I completely agree with that. It's more of what I can do for you, and that's how I ran my company. It's what I can do for you, not how I'm dressed. That didn't make it. Bankers are always dressed in suits and ties, and the guy in the suit and tie typically probably couldn't do as well as someone else. They may have looked really good, but it's what you could do for the customer, what ideas you had, and to be able to show them. So I don't think I would change on that at all. I completely believe that you should be business casual in the workplace. You don't need to be suit and tie stuffy. That's kind of the way I look at it. I know working at the university, a lot of the upper management wear suits and ties on a daily basis. If you're going to a meeting with those, maybe the board members, you do need to wear the suit and tie, but when you're meeting with your employees, probably you don't need to really dress like that. Week 6, working in groups. Yes, I've worked in a lot of groups. I'm currently on groups at the university, equity board, grievance board. I actually chair a few of those. Retention committee. I've been on a lot of different boards with different ideas going all around. Sometimes it's very difficult. I have felt that I have brought up points that my job looks at with our students, and they're kind of ignored. And I think our retention at the university is suffering between that sophomore and junior years, and because we're more worried about getting the freshman to sophomore to keep our retention numbers at 90, 95 or above. And we're doing it at the expense of students who probably should be told they cannot return to the university due to the fact that they are making or owe way too much money. And we're making a lot of exceptions to let them in to keep our numbers up. And then at that point, we are kind of kicking them to the curb. So working in groups, I have enjoyed. That's one of the weird things that I like. I always look forward to having meetings, working in groups. A lot of people do not like that. I really enjoy that. And productive meetings, productive groups, I enjoy. Going into a meeting that is completely pointless and you get nothing out of just to say you had a meeting, not beneficial at all. And it's basically a waste of time. But working in groups, I will continue to do that as much as I possibly can. And like I said, I do enjoy that part of it. Week 7, conflict. Obviously, I kind of just touched on that a little bit with our groups. There's always going to be conflict in anything that you do, any group that you have, any work environment you have, and it's not all bad. There is bad conflict, and that's stuff that you have to overcome. But there's a lot of good conflict, and the conflict of people bouncing ideas off of each other or disagreeing or getting other people to look at a different way of thinking. At times you get other people in the group to say, oh yeah, you know what, I didn't think of it that way. And that becomes a good thing. And I do believe that conflict can be good for the morale of people. It can also be very bad for a company. But on the good side, you kind of look at it as that of, yeah, there's conflict, but yeah, how did you get through it? And a lot of times conflict comes at the last minute. You're working towards a goal. There's a lot of conflict, but a lot of times that helps you to go over and above and get yourself to where you need to be and overproduce and get a job done that you thought maybe you couldn't, or it makes for a better job. So in conclusion, I have greatly enjoyed this class, and being able to look back on a lot of things that I have done in my past and kind of look into the future. And it does make me miss being able to manage people, and makes me miss the business world a lot. But Where we're at right now, I'm pretty satisfied where I'm at, and this class has brought back a lot of good memories, and I completely enjoyed it. So thank you very much, and good luck.